Welcome back, Nerd Nation. Sigel with us again.
Yes, I'm starting to think that you're a fan, Eric. I'm starting to think.
I am a fan. So wanted to talk about personal growth today.
Mhm.
And you had a huge opportunity this last weekend. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so I won a competition in February, last month, where the prize was the Unleash the Power Within Tony Robbins seminar.
And I'm just going to interrupt here because you called me like 3 hours into this. What did you tell me?
That this was the greatest prize I've ever won.
And let's put that in perspective. You've been on a private jet, you've had some phenomenal incentives.
I won a private plane flight to Vegas at the best ranked steakhouse in the country. I've won vacations. I've won a lot of cash.
And this topped it all.
This topped it all.
So I've been super excited to get you in the chair and talk a little bit about Tony Robbins. And before we get into that specifically, though, why is self-improvement so important to you?
Because I think it can really just impact your life in so many ways, and I feel like so many people don't make an investment in themselves, and then they just live an unfulfilled life and they just kind of go through the motions. I think like one of my greatest fears is to be 65 years old and feel like my life has just like passed me by, or like I just like did the time.
Right.
So I've always, since I was a little girl, I always had super big dreams and ambition. I've just been a very ambitious person. And I think just my greatest fear would be that I had all of those ambitions and I did nothing with them.
So the reward is in the journey, not the destination.
Yeah, 100%.
So what are some of the things you do? I know you're not an audible. You don't like the books on tape, but you're a reader.
Yeah, I like to read. I'm old school. I like to highlight, underline. I like to take notes. During the Tony Robbins Unleash the Power Within, I took 15 pages of notes. I just feel like it sticks more. How often do I really go back and like read those notes and stuff? Not super often, but I feel I'm just that type of learner. I'm more of a visual learner where if I can write it down, it just kind of
it sticks,
embeds a little more in my brain. Yeah.
Cool. So what are some other things that you do for your personal growth?
I'm gonna say some kooky things.
That does not surprise me.
But I will say, like, I put a lot of pressure on myself, and I am very critical of myself. And when I was younger, because I'm still young, but when I was younger, not only was I super critical of myself, but I was always very concerned with how people perceived me. And so I felt like I was doing things to appease others and not necessarily doing things for myself. But I don't care anymore. Like, I don't know how else to, and it's not to be rude to anybody, but I don't care how people perceive me, like, at all. Like, I am super confident. I'm not self-conscious or anything like that.
That's huge, actually. I mean, I remember that I used to be very self-conscious and worried about what other people think. And it was a big step for me when I got to that point where
it used to bring me so much anxiety.
Yep.
And I was just like a very anxious person.
And you'd worry about things that you didn't need to worry about.
Yeah. And now it's just like, who cares? Like, if you're going to judge me, or you're going to have, bad thoughts towards me based off of a judgment call that you made, then I don't want you around in my circle anyways. Right. So, I'm always quality over quantity. I'm not a person that has a ton of friends. I've never been that way. I'm more like reserved in that aspect. And aside from me not caring what anyone thinks about me, I'm very territorial over my peace and my energy. So I know the kind of person I am, and I know that there's probably a lot of great people in the world. But I know that sometimes people look to take more than they look to give.
Right.
So I'm very protective over like my space. Like I don't have anybody over my house. Like, I don't just let anybody into my private space. That's not only my sacred space, but that's also my child's space. And I think if you let people with negative energy into your energy, it can sometimes take away from that. So I believe in like positive talk. Like I talk to myself.
Okay.
Who cares? I talk to myself. I like chant to myself. I like constantly think positive things about myself. I always like compliment myself internally.
I think that's huge.
It's super important. A lot of this started, have I always been this way? Like, look, I was a very insecure person. I was a very insecure young girl, teenager, young woman. And I think I had like a major breakthrough in like 2016. And I don't think I really fully like became 100% secure in myself until like 2021. So yeah, like a lot of this is a little bit new for me, but I can say like this is like the first time in my life that I'm like rock solid. Like anybody could say anything they want to me, and I just really don't give a damn.
So that's interesting because a lot of people that I have known that have really liked the Tony Robbins is when they were on they were in a lull, right? They were at the bottom, they're in the valley. And it sounds like you're at the top necessarily, but you still loved it.
Yeah, I'm like a huge Tony Robbins fan. Yeah. I've always been like a really big Tony Robbins fan. I have a lot of admiration for him. Not only is he somebody who like practices what he preaches, but he also like gives back so much to, he like gives back a lot to community. And so I think for this, it wasn't more so like a breakthrough. I think it would help me take the next step mentally that I needed to push through a ceiling that I thought I had over my head.
Oh, cool.
But it reinforced a lot of the things I already felt for myself. And it really, I mean, I was just admiring the whole experience. I admired him so much as a person and his ability to just deliver a message in such a profound way that could just capture an audience for 50 hours. Like I couldn't imagine trying to keep someone entertained for 50 hours. Like I do a boot camp class, for 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah, 3 hours.
And I'm just so in the beginning, I'm like, I hope I don't bore you guys. Like I try to keep it high energy. Like I can't imagine having that task for 50 hours. So I was just like mesmerized by the whole experience.
And at the end of the boot camp, you're exhausted, right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So exhausting. And mind you, like Tony's been doing this for centuries.
Yeah.
Like he's been doing this for, he's in his 60s now. And he's been doing this since he was 17. And just the energy and his just, like I was telling you this before, like talk about a man that's just living like this is his destiny. Like his calling. This is his calling. This is what he was meant to do. Like the guy just gets it and he just does it in such a great way. And it's interesting because I've told a few people that I was doing this and they're like, oh my gosh, that guy, you're all into this like self-help motivational speaker, He very much does not like to be called a motivational speaker. He's considers himself a strategist. He's like, I'm not here to motivate you because motivation isn't going to change anything because obviously you can motivate yourself.
Right.
My goal is to help you figure out a strategy so you can be aware of the things that you're doing and we can strategize how to fix them together. That's his kind of approach.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you were excited to get into it. Did it exceed your expectations or did they meet them at least? Or?
Yeah. So it was virtual. So
which you were bummed about.
Yeah, I was bummed about. I'm more of like I'm very old school. I like to read a book. I hate texting. I like to call somebody. Yep. I'm not a good over the phone salesperson. I'm an in-person salesperson. I like to feel the energy and like read people's body language and stuff. So I was a little concerned at if I was going to receive like the full impact of the event, having it be through Zoom. But I was that much more blown away that he was able to capture the attention of people for 50 hours through Zoom.
Through Zoom.
Yeah.
So it exceeded your expectations.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Awesome. So let's dive into it a little bit. Tell us, what was your favorite part?
So
now, hold on.
yeah.
I do want to say we are going to have this, so maybe don't spill the beans, because we are going to have this as another contest this fall. His next
one.
Yeah.
What's the next one?
I think
Are we going to do
it's the same one.
Oh, it's the same one? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
It's twice a year, I think, that he puts it on.
So, probably the biggest thing is drawing awareness into the way that we talk about ourselves. So in the Zoom, we also like broke off into these like breakout rooms where they'd
Was
be
it
like,
interactive?
Okay,
Were you
yeah, it was
talking?
interactive.
Oh, okay, cool.
So it'd be like, all right, guys, he would give us a topic and then we'd write down things like on 2 different topics. And then we'd break out into a breakout room where it was like me and 2 or 3 other people. That was super cool. So one of them is like, we're always thinking about our problems, or if we achieve something, we're not really kind to ourselves. He asked a question like, think of the last thing that you worked so hard towards and you actually got it. How happy were you? Like how much happiness and how long did it last? And then he's like, so you worked so hard towards something and then you rewarded yourself for what? Maybe an hour, maybe a day. And then you were like, what's next? Because it's never enough. So I thought that was like super profound because I don't feel like I celebrate myself enough. I'm always like, it's never enough. Like I have a house, I want another house, and I want more money, and I want another car, and I want this, and I want that.
You want your Ferrari.
I want my Ferrari, and I want my G-Wagon, baby. But I think like we're just not kind enough to ourselves. And a lot of times we just think of like all of our problems. We focus so much on what's wrong in our lives and not focusing on the good in our lives. And he's like, what if you had to trade your problems for someone else's problems? And, and he brought up like things like, we think our problems because we don't have enough money in the bank, but would you rather not have enough money in the bank, or would you rather be like a quadriplegic? It's like, it could always be worse.
Yep.
It's just kind of like putting all what you're not satisfied with, focusing on the things that bring you joy and reinforcing yourself with positive emotion that help you kind of harness what's possible in a day. Because anything is possible. Things are boundless. You're capable of anything. He's like a millionaire or a billionaire doesn't have any special qualities over you. It's just their ability to harness their momentum and their beliefs to catapult them towards achieving their goals. Sometimes, like I broke out into a breakout room, and I'm like a pretty motivated individual. I think like a lot of these people were kind of stuck in a rut and like there's a lot of like really depressed people. There was people that were on there that were suicidal. And I'm just like, I'm a sales manager. Who would I be if I'm not a motivated person? And I went in a breakout room and, I was like, I was the one that kind of took the lead and was like, who wants to go first? And no one wanted to go first. So I was like, oh, I'll go first. And I remember there was a lady who's like, yeah, I'm in Australia and I really want more for my life. I want a better earning position, but I'm just so worried about not getting the position. And I was just like, I hear that you're motivated, like you want to do something else, but you're so scared of the rejection. But what is the worst that they can tell you? Like you apply for the job, you go to the interview. What is the worst that's going to happen? They don't give you the job, but you didn't have the job anyways. So are you really losing anything? And she's like, oh my God, I never thought of it that way. So it was just like really interesting to hear people's like ideas of problems. And then probably it was kind of like sad, but like put things on a lot of perspective for me because as you know, my current situation is I'm a single mom.
Right.
So, and like sometimes I find myself like, oh my God, my job is so much harder because I'm a single mom. My day-to-day life is so much harder because I'm a single mom. And I find myself like blaming my child almost for something that she couldn't help. And it shouldn't really be a problem. Like I'm so blessed. Like how many women like struggle to conceive and, You know, how many children, my daughter's in perfect health. Like I am so lucky and blessed. And I have like the most beautiful little girl in the whole wide world. And then I was talking to we were in another breakout group and there was a woman in Uzbekistan. And she was like, yeah, I'm so fascinated with Western culture, just being on this Zoom call and just seeing all these other people in different countries and stuff. And she's like, I'm currently in a predicament right now where I'm in a very misogynistic culture where I have two little girls that are watching me and my existence is to serve my husband. And I feel like I don't want that for my life anymore. And I don't want that for my little girls anymore. And I got to figure out how to get out of here. And just like hearing that was like, oh my God.
Heartbreaking.
It was like so sad. And like we could hear her little girls in the background. And like hearing her problem, I was just like, you're in a country that's like, you feel like your country's against you. And she had this struggle where she was like, I'm very patriotic. I love my country, but my country doesn't want for me what I want for myself or my little girls.
Oh, your girls, yeah.
So it was just like, talk about like what are my like
perspective, right?
You know what I mean? Perspective is everything. So, but that's like kind of a little glimpse of some of the stuff that we did. And then probably like the other thing in the beginning that I thought was like really corny and cheesy, but then by the end of it, I was like, heck yeah, is he would like play music, be like, everybody get out of your chair and dance. And I'm just like, and mind you, everybody.
Did you, I got to ask, did you dance? You did. I can tell you did. Good job.
Oh my God. So I was just like, mind you, but we're in the privacy of our own home. So I don't know. I'm thinking like secret cameras are planted in my bedroom or something. Someone is like,
was your camera on?
Yes, everybody. And that's one thing that it was like 50,000 people participated in this.
And you guys were all dancing.
Everybody had their Zoom camera on. And he's like, get out of your chair and let's dance. And everyone's like, dancing and like people are like just jumping up and down, getting on their sofa. People got their dogs and they're dancing with their dogs. And there was this poor little Frenchie that was just like hanging on for dear life. And in the beginning, I was just like, okay. But you know what I was just like, all right, little two-step, shoulder shrug, all that stuff. But you know what was so insane is that motion creates emotion. That's what he says. Motion creates emotion. So I found that like, as I was hesitant to dance, but the second time that we went out and danced and I became more into it. And then my mood just changed. And then I was like, yeah, power. He's like, give your move. And you're like, yeah. And you're like, I can do anything. Yeah. And you're like, but it just naturally, if you go through the motions, your body feels that emotion.
Yeah.
So, that was so interesting because I'm more of like a reserved person. And also I do not dance in front of people. Like I do not dance unless I'm like very, very tipsy, very tipsy. I just don't dance in front of people. So for me to be completely sober at like 9 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, dancing in front of 50,000 people on a Zoom camera, that was profound.
One of the things that you told me that I thought was interesting is you thought this was going to be like a 9 to 5, like Zoom. So tell us a little bit about that.
So
first of all, you forgot the time change because of daylight savings. So I call her and I'm like, how's this going? And she's like, wait, what?
I thought it started at 8 a.m. because it was Eastern Standard Time because Tony Robbins lives in Florida. Yeah. So he did this in Florida.
Okay.
So the time had just changed. So I was thinking like Florida was 2 hours ahead.
And it was 3.
And it was 3. So I was like, oh my God, Eric, I'm about to cry because I couldn't.
You did. That's right. You're like you were looking forward to this.
I've been looking forward to. I'm just like, I'm such a fan of his. Yeah. So like when I won this and stuff, I was just like so excited about it. And then you couldn't log in. And then I couldn't log in.
That's right.
But the good thing is I didn't really miss too much because they did like an hour warm up and stuff and just kind of like laying out what was going to happen during the event. But I remember looking at the schedule for the event when it was emailed to me 2 days before because I was thinking, 9 to 5, whatever. No. It was from 7 a.m. till 8 o'clock, 8, 9 o'clock. And I was like, And I remember thinking, okay, so maybe this is like a joke. Maybe he's just saying that so we can lock away those hours, but probably we're going to have an intermission for 4 hours in between and then rejoin. No, it is the whole time. The whole time. We would get literally a 30-minute break to shove food in our faces and then get back to it.
Get your energy for dancing.
Yeah, for dancing. And man, you would think that you were working out just the way it was. And it's get up, stand up, do your move, shout, talk, praise yourself, stuff like that. And so you're just shouting and stuff. And I remember my babysitter is in the thing and she's like, what the hell is happening in Sigel's bedroom right now? You just hear me shouting and screaming at the top of my lungs. Yeah. So it was from 7 a.m. to 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, Thursday through Sunday.
So I'm going to ask you one last question. So obviously it was life-changing, you said, and you can't wait to do something like this. But tell me one thing that you're going to change. What's one thing? Maybe it's the one thing Babe always talks about. What's the one thing that you're going to take from this and implement it in your own personal life?
I'm going to take my shoulds and make them do's. I'm not going to should anymore.
Okay.
Tony goes, we think that we should work out, that we should go to work, that we should invest, that we should spend family time. We just should all over ourselves. And he's we just don't do. We need to replace our shoulds with an active form and do those things. So
what are some do's?
I am going to be more present. I'm going to be more present in the moment with my daughter, and I'm not going to feel any regrets for the work ethic I have to provide a better life. And I am going to invest. I am going to be wealthy. I'm not going to be passive and think I'm too young to have the things that I want in life. And I'm going to do the work. I think, and that was part of one of the exercises that we have are what are the things that you need to do to stop shoulding. And because I was also thinking about N.E.R.D, my position at N.E.R.D, because he was talking about some of you are business owners and some of you want to be an irreplaceable asset to the company that you work for. And that's what I want to be for N.E.R.D Power. And so I was thinking about what I can implement to make that impact with my company and my team. So the first thing I put is I'm just going to do the work. I'm just going to shut up and get to work and forget about all the negative emotions that have prevented me from doing that since I've become a mom and just do it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Sigel, thank you. And
yeah.
I wish I could have seen you dance.
I know. Let's do a power move, Eric. Yes. Yes, baby.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Sigel, and thanks for listening.
Thank you.